Welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm Christine, founder of Embodied Energy Wellness, a shamanic energy practitioner and soul guide. This is a space for honest conversations about healing, awakening, and the moments that shape us. We all carry a story, and this is a place where those stories can be shared, witnessed, and gently healed, together in community. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Take a deep breath. You're very welcome here. Before we begin, I want to gently let you know that this episode includes a personal story shared by my guest. Some themes may include trauma, grief, pregnancy, or baby loss, or sensitive life experiences. This story is shared willingly and with care, and I invite you to listen in a way that feels safe and supportive for you. As always, you're welcome to pause or step away at any time. Some patterns don't shout, they whisper, until the body is exhausted and the heart feels heavy. In today's episode, I'm joined by Denise, a woman who knows what it means to care deeply, sometimes at the cost of herself. She's spent years minding everyone else, holding space, keeping the peace, while quietly pushing her own needs to the bottom of the list. We've all been there. And even when she tries to choose herself, she finds herself slipping back into old habits, the ones that feel familiar, safe, and draining all at once. This conversation is about putting yourself back on your own list, learning why self-talk alone isn't always enough, and gently opening the doorway to heart healing without shame, force, or fixing. If you've ever felt exhausted from being the strong one, this episode is for you. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're so welcome, and thanks for trusting me to hold space for you today in the Healing Circle. Denise, when did you first notice that you were constantly putting everyone else before yourself?
I would have been quite young, but I definitely noticed by the age of, say, 10, and by 15, I wanted to fix the world. So, yeah, quite young.
So you were obviously the eldest.
I'm the eldest of the family, yeah.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, yeah. You do find that, especially when parents are maybe arguing or they've got issues, they tend to go to the firstborn and offload. I found that anyway in my household dynamic.
Yeah. And can you tell me a little bit about you growing up and the reason why you felt the pressure was on?
Well, I think by 19, my father had passed away. He died suddenly, and he left my mother quite a young widow. She wasn't able to do very much. She had entrusted everything to him. So paying bills, everything really was down to him. So when she was 44, she was widowed. I was 19.
Very
and I
young.
felt the pressure of that, very young. Yeah. And I felt the pressure of sort of helping her or stepping into his role. She couldn't use a cash card in the wall. She couldn't pay a bill. She didn't know where to do anything at that particular time. Very old generation, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just felt that need and that pressure to mind her, my younger sister, and to do what needed to be done at that particular time. I don't know if it was right or wrong. Maybe she had other people to help, but I felt that I had to do it. And if I didn't do it, it wasn't going to get done. She wasn't going to be able to do what she needed to do. So yeah, I suppose that role came to me quite young.
Have you got two other siblings?
I've one sister.
One other sibling, okay.
Yeah, 4 years younger than me. So she was only 15 when my father passed away.
So
and that's a big blow. Sudden death at that age is a big blow. At any age is a big blow, but certainly at a teenage age. And, you know, there's no quiet whisper of somebody being sick, or you've no time to get your head around anything. You suddenly have to grow up and assume you grow, or at least you feel that you do.
And there's also the shock factor, you know. I think when a parent isn't, you know, when they're suddenly there 1 minute and gone the next, there is that shock of my whole world is just turned upside down. You know, all that you knew is completely changed.
And he's a very strong character as well. So he minded the family, minded my mother, and that light goes out. And you don't know what to do. Suddenly you're thrust into a situation where, how do I do this? This is 33 years ago now at this stage. So it's where do I go? You've no internet to Google.
Yeah.
You've no ChatGPT to check where do I pay that bill? How do I do it? You had to physically and manually go and try and learn everything and do everything. And that was a lot of pressure, I suppose, on a young girl. I myself would have gone on with my then boyfriend to pick his coffin, to
Mm.
arrange a funeral mass while my mother was at home making sandwiches and putting the kettle on for whoever was arriving to the house. So, you know, you learn to grow up very, very quickly. And it's sink or swim at that stage. You don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
And that's what I found. And that was the creator of a lot of my downfall in making sure that everybody else was sorted, everything else was done before it came to me.
So what you're describing is you stepped fully into your masculine energy.
Yes.
The masculine energy is, the provider, the doer, the go-getter, the constantly driving, constantly protecting, constantly, making sure everyone is well and sorted. And, that's the masculine energy. And we have a feminine energy, everybody, regardless of what gender you are, you have a masculine side and you have a feminine side. And the feminine side is more on the left-hand side and the masculine's on the right. And you had to step into that masculine role because your mother wasn't going to step into it, and that's a lot, and we kind of, it's in survival mode is the masculine energy.
Yes.
Can you tell the listeners, where did that masculine energy, like how far did you step into that? Because we also have toxic masculine energy. Here's me stumbling over my words again. And we also have divine masculine energy, and the two are quite different. Can you tell me a little bit about what you
Yeah.
did to survive?
Yeah. I found myself, I moved forward a couple of years and I married a man who had quite a, if you put it like that, quite a feminine energy. He was the youngest of 10. His mother had just passed away. I came in as the fixer again to
Mm.
try and help. He went from being minded by this family of 10 to me. And again, I had to step up and sort of do whatever needed to be done. I was probably the male in our relationship, and he was the female in our relationship. That lasted for 18 years. Now, we've two beautiful children, but we really weren't suited as a couple.
Yeah.
And I found myself still assuming that role
Yeah. And
until,
it's, oh, sorry, go on.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when we have a father wound, and particularly at a very young age at 19, and you've gone into the masculine energy to survive, we are the fixer. So of course the natural step into it was to find a man that needed that masculine energy, because that's the role that you understood.
As an adult, that was the role that I'd assumed from the age of 19. I knew no other way, really. I hadn't been minded by anybody in those years since my father had passed away. My mother is a very quiet woman. She needs to be looked after. She's independent in her own way, but at
Mm.
the same time, she needs to be minded at that particular time. So when you assume that role, it's almost like role reversal in a family, that you become the mother, they become the child.
Yeah.
So as I moved forward and progressed, she came out of her grief stages and she moved on. I still found myself in a little bit of limbo land, then met this man and he needed to be minded and it was familiar. I just
Yeah.
felt it was familiar and we
Comfort.
were so not suited, in any way we weren't suited. But I still felt that I could help this man in some way, or I could heal him or guide him to the next stages. And that really didn't work. It was a battle for 18 years. I stayed there for 18 years. Two beautiful children. Ryan is 21 now. Sarah Ann is 14,
Mm.
15 in March. But it didn't work as a couple. But
Yeah.
again, it's what I knew then for that from the age of 19 to about 45. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And eventually I thought, right, enough. I am way down this pecking order. I'm way down the ladder. Everybody is getting fixed, helped, sorted, bar myself. I ballooned in weight. I was very, very depressed. And I just found myself in a really uncomfortable state. So ended the marriage and tried to move on from there. But found myself in very familiar patterns up to the last 2.5 years ago. You meet maybe somebody and they have an issue, and there you are again trying to fix
You ignore the
this
red flags.
situation. You ignore the red flags. And I ignored a major in my last relationship. I ignored a good few red flags there, to my own detriment at the end. And I had a very, very bad health scare. I found out that I had the start of breast cancer, essentially.
Okay.
So the cells were there, they needed to come out. How quickly they were going to develop, I didn't know. And I waited. I found out on the Christmas 2022, that they needed to come out. And I didn't have the operation until August of 2023. And in that period of 9 months, I completely fell apart, which set me on the journey of, I need to look after myself. I need to mind myself. I need to value myself and understand that if I'm not healthy and well, everything else does fall apart. Because now I'm divorced. I'm the mother of the 2 children. I'm the provider of the home that they live in. And all financial aspects and all their well-being is on me. Their dad really doesn't feature in that in any regard, in any way. So at the time I was working 3 different jobs, keeping the roof over my head and the kids and everything that I've outlined there. And I found myself in a situation with a man who had essentially nowhere to live, didn't have, well, he was separated and he had gone back to live with his mother, but he didn't have his own independence, or he didn't have his own house. So he ended up here quite a lot of the week. And financially, he wasn't very well off. He was providing for his own kids. So I found myself again financially helping. And it started to grate on me, because I thought, I'm paying for these holidays, or I'm paying for these meals. I'm providing the nice, comfortable, warm home as well. Whilst I'm also dealing with this health issue. So I completely and utterly fell apart.
We always, with my work, I always say there is a time in our lives where our soul has to step in, and we really have to become aware of our physical body, because particularly around the chest, when we hold so much in our heart space, and it manifests into physical form. And it is around the chest area, the heart area. You hear of people, like died of a broken heart. That is because they're carrying so much sorrow and so much heartache in their heart. And, if you've never really, truly tapped into your healing journey with the loss of your dad, and then carrying everyone, that's a lot on your heart space, and every person my clients that I talk to, it is that one thing, that health scare, that you have 2 choices. You either go on your healing journey, or you ignore it and you keep going.
And I found that I did go on the healing journey then. Once this was removed, and I knew I didn't have to have chemo or radiation, I felt that huge weight was lifted, because if I was ill, who was going to look after my kids? And again, they're 21 and they're 14 now, but this is a couple of years ago. They were still, Ryan was still in school. He was doing his leaving cert. And the weight of it all and the pressure just became so overwhelming. And it's like the last 30 years just came and hit me. And I ended my relationship that I was in at the time, which really, really hurt me, because we were very suited on lots and lots of levels. But I had to end that relationship as well. I had to call him out on a few issues that were there, and he didn't like it at the time. So that ultimately ended our relationship. But I've spent the last 2.5 years, I think all of it needed to happen, because I've spent the last 2.5 years identifying where my issues are.
Mm.
The fact that I do tend to want to help people all the time, and at the cost of myself.
Yeah.
So I'm trying bit by bit, and that's how I found you. Even on TikTok, my algorithms are changing,
Yeah.
and I'm finding, going to your inner healing circle over in Carrigbines. Was it Carrigbines that we went to?
Yeah, it's Full Moon Healing Circle in Cherrywood.
Absolutely, Cherrywood. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And
Mm.
I'm so grateful to find people like yourself to highlight the issues that we all carry and make us internalize, realize, and stop, slow down, go to something like one of those evenings. They're empowering. They're beautiful. They're so well ran. They're so well. You hold space. You're holding court for everybody that's there, and it's a beautiful testament to what you provide.
Thank you. Do you know what? Something came in there.
Mm,
The energy of your dad came in, and
really?
oh, I'm getting a shiver all the way down the right hand side of my body, which is the masculine energy. So he's just coming in. But my role here in the healing circle is to give the bird's eye view, the higher perspective, the eagle. And what came in there is, as you were talking about constantly providing, constantly giving, constantly making sure everyone was fine, blah, 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 and then manifesting into the chest area, the heart space, it is, your dad came in there is exactly how he felt. And the pattern of the ancestral lineage of that pattern of constantly giving to everyone else except for yourself, that manifested into the heart space for him. And what is coming in is he's so proud of you that you have now changed your whole life into different direction, because he hadn't got the wisdom as you have up to your point in your life to make these changes. I hope
That's good to know.
I hope
We
that
would be the same age. Yeah, he died at my age now, so
exactly. So it's like your soul stepped in because you've got a lot of work to do. You know, you've a lot of people to heal as well in your own journey, and this experience is only giving you more depth in your wisdom to share with others. So well done for listening when your soul stepped in.
thank you.
That just all came in there. When there's just so much love around you. I hope you feel that big hug around you. Because it's bringing a tear to my eye, because it's really strong. But yeah, 100%, he's so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry that I've thrown you off.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Sorry, but do you see, when we zoom out of the situation and we look at it from an ancestral space, the line, we can see the same pattern happen again. And and it is that calling that we all have. My own personal one was a near-death experience after the birth of my youngest child. I would have went down a very slippery slope. My mental health was suffering, etc., and I had another business and I was running myself into the ground. I actually, to have a day off, I would actually imagine careering into a wall as I was driving down the N11 just to break a leg so I can lie in hospital for 2 weeks so nobody could disturb me. That was the thought process, to stop, because I was completely in my masculine energy, and that then started me on this path.
Isn't it so powerful when you find like that? You find your thing, and in helping others, and you're helping others so much now. It helps and heals you too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The Full Moon Healing Circle, I've gotten so much growth for showing up every month for the last 5 years on that beach. And I would have had fear of public speaking, the fear of being rejected, because all the locals for around Ballybrackliney would have seen me falling out of pubs like most weekends. And then suddenly there she is on a beach drumming.
Yeah.
So can you imagine the talk of the town? Do you know what I mean? It's like, here's your one, but then slowly they all started coming. You know, but the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment, and the fear of abandonment, and that happened then in my own circles that I hung around with. A lot of like friends broke away.
They fall off.
Yeah. And there's a
And
grieving process around there.
of course there is. I heard something there, a public speaker again on TikTok. I seem to gravitate towards that to find a lot of things, I think. But there was a man and he said people are like boosters. I don't know if you've seen this, boosters on a rocket.
Yeah.
So as the rocket takes off, the boosters start to fall off. So if
100%.
they're not going in the direction that you're going in, they will start to fall off.
Yeah. And it is anyone that starts making those changes in their lives and going on their healing journey, there is that shakeout because they're naturally vibrating out of your life, you know, and for your highest good. So tell me then, back to you. What was the next step when you finally asked your ex to leave? You started on your healing journey. Just tell us how you started on your healing journey.
Well, I went down in like a rocket for a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, breakdown before the breakthrough.
Absolutely. And then slowly I started to come back up. I started like that researching what was best for my higher good, how to break cycles, how to not engage. Like my phone is constant. It's a work phone for starters, so it's a constant thing. But everybody seems to ring my phone to say, "This has
Yeah,
happened. That has
panic.
happened." Panic, 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 panic. And I seem to be that one person that everybody goes to. So what I've done is my eldest son is starting his own business now. Big, big, big undertaking for a 21-year-old.
Wow.
So yeah. I'm so proud of both of the kids and where they've come from because they come from a broken home. And
Yeah.
I operate very differently to the way their father operates. And I'm sure they like things from both sides,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
way
They'll
they
pick and
decide.
choose.
Yeah, absolutely. But they have very much tended to come into my fold. And we're a great little trio here, I have to say.
Oh, well,
Ryan's fantastic as a sister. And
that's
his is
due to
really
you.
adorable. Oh, I've worked very, very hard. So what I
Yeah.
decided to do was this is my priority. This what's under this roof is my priority. Yes, I run my own business and I have to give energy to that, a certain amount of energy to that. But I've started to say, not no exactly, but I'll hold back a little bit and I'll give it, can I get back to you on that?
Yes.
Can you
Boundaries.
boundaries? Yes. Now I went to the doctor at the time when I was ill and I had gone before my relationship breakup. I had said, look, I'm struggling here. I hadn't told the man I was in the relationship with, I hadn't told him that I was struggling, hadn't told the
Mm.
kids, I hadn't told anybody that I was struggling, but I said, I'm struggling. They wanted to put me on medication. And I said, no, I don't want any medication. I'll try and get out of this myself. By the June of that year, so I went in April, and by the June of that year, I went back and said, give me everything that you have, everything and
Okay.
more, everything that you have. So that set me on just calming my mind down. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't I wasn't physically doing anything. I wasn't walking. I wasn't doing anything for my mental state at the time. So bit by bit, I had to start breaking these patterns down. And 2.5 years later, I have found that I now worry about what's within these four walls and what we can do as a family to help each other. And we
Yeah.
do. We're very supportive of each other in every way. Saying Ryan's setting up his own business. I'm helping him do that at the minute. But in turn, I had a parent teacher meeting 2 weeks ago that I couldn't go to. I was working. And between the two kids, they had conjured up, oh, Ryan is going to go. So my 21-year-old went to the parent teacher meeting for my 14-year-old.
Oh, that's lovely though. That connection and that support.
Absolutely, totally. And they made a little plan that they were going for chicken wings afterwards. And she was delighted and he was delighted. And even in the restaurant afterwards, I was in it. The girl had said to me, the girl that I know had said to me, oh, they came in last week and they were so cute. They were
No.
so cute. He was so proud of her and she was delighted getting her chicken wings. And I find now that where my energy goes is a much healthier space. I
Yeah.
don't need to put my energy into a partner that needs a bit of help, or the lady down the road that needs something, that yes, I will help, don't get me wrong, I will help if I can help, but my priorities are here and with those two kids
You
and
know,
what we need first.
do you know, as a child, for us to get that approval that we seek when we're doing in the masculine energy and we're doing the work, but there's kind of like this underlying energy of feeling seen and getting that external validation. And I feel, and talking from my own experience, well, and you don't have to agree with me in this one, but I feel when there's a broken home and when we're younger and we're not feeling safe, we look outside the family home for external validation. And then when that external validation turns into people actually needing you and your help, that feeds our ego, and
Absolutely.
and then we feel that we belong, that we have an identity here. And that can come in then into our personal life as we grow older. By then, I'm still seeking validation. So I need to move into helping this partner and being the provider and moving into the survival mode and the masculine energy because I'm still seeking that external validation.
Absolutely.
And then
it's a need to be needed, isn't it?
100%. And sometimes that takes us away from what's really important. And I remember I got that realization myself, and I had to sit in that in my shadow for a while. I looked outside the family home for the validation when really I needed to turn my focus inwards. And by the sounds of it, you have done that. And have done amazing work with your children.
Now it really took me to block out everything else.
Yeah.
And to really focus on what was necessary and what was needed. And I have found as a result, I'm healthier. I would make healthier choices. If I'm asked out on a date now, for example, I might go, I mightn't go, it depends.
Yeah.
But if I do, I'll watch for the red flags.
Yes.
And I think, no, I don't need to fix this. I don't need to help you there. I need,
exactly.
If I choose to go into a relationship again, I need a partner in life. I need a healthy, they need to be independent themselves, they need to be financially independent. They need to have their own home because to me, nobody falls in love quicker than a man who has nowhere to live.
Yeah.
That's just, I've discovered that now over the years in different situations and even watching friends. So my boundaries are there. I'm in a much healthier situation. I would hope better and wiser and it has to be a right fit for me and my family as well, for the kids, and the kids have to get on with them and all of those type of things. I'm talking way down the line now, obviously, but
no,
yeah, I feel I'm healthier. I know by the choices I'm making, and in situations like that, do I want to go there? Not really. So I know I'm healthier myself.
And that brings us to another thing, when we could see the patterns, but what it's doing is it's expanding our awareness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when we go on our healing journey, we sit in the observe, not the absorb. And that's where our wisdom lies. And I think a lot of people are like, they may go into the victim mindset of why me? Why is this happening again? But we need to flip that mindset and look at it and going, this is just a curveball from the universe, seeing if I've learned, if I've leveled up.
Exactly.
And when you've made that decision going, no, that's a red flag, I'm not falling for that trick anymore, you have leveled up and your vibration has changed a different frequency. And I have no doubt in my mind, Denise, that when you're ready, that partner will come in. But you have done a lot of work on yourself to go to the right frequency to be able to attract the right frequency in for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel that in myself. I feel that I've leveled up, and I do recognize the dangers and the warning signs. And I know not to go back into those patterns anymore, because they don't serve me. They
Yeah.
don't. Ultimately, I'm the one that comes out the worst in the end of it, while everybody else walks into the sunset. I always feel, and ironically, this has happened, that I'm always sent to people to heal them. So I might
Yeah.
heal a heart that I didn't break or fix a situation that I didn't create. And then they go off into the sunset and have a very happy, healthy life. I'm the
Yeah.
one left going, okay,
You're on the
hello, I'm
floor.
here. Yeah, I'm here. Why me? So I feel that the universe has sent me these tests in the last couple of years to identify where I was going wrong
Yeah.
and realize I can't keep doing that. If I want to, like, nothing changes if nothing changes. So you have to make the changes. You have to internalize. You have to really see what you've been doing wrong to create this environment or these situations, and
And that
why
is
you're always the one at the end. Yeah.
100%. And that is sitting in our shadow.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot, like the shadow work is so important for our healing journey. But to turn that mirror, so everyone's a mirror, you know, and your partners all were mirrors to you.
Mhm.
And they were reflecting back on you, what your behavior, your patterns, and to sit and turn that mirror to yourself and really from a higher perspective say, what did I bring to that table?
Mhm.
A lot
It
of
was a tough.
people,
It was a tough one. I found that the last relationship, particularly in all the relationships, throughout my life or whatever, was the hardest, because it was the one where I dug so deep. I had let somebody in after being let down,
yeah,
in my marriage and everything else. I had managed to let somebody in, which was a big, big thing for me. And to
trust.
let trust, yeah. And don't get me wrong, this man is a lovely man. And there were a lot of positives, maybe at a different stage of our lives where he wasn't going through his divorce and his breakup so early on in that situation. Maybe it would have worked, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But where I found myself was, he had, financially, he was strapped. uh, Kids wise, he was down in his mother's, it was all of that kind of stuff. And who was the one that was kind of saving the day?
yeah,
But me. But me again, providing the safe space, the ear, listening. Not everything you're told is the truth by people either. That I had to discover that a
yeah,
little bit down the line. But I thought he was his true authentic self with him, and I was my true authentic self. We were both fairly authentic. I would have thought we were anyway. So it was very, very difficult to leave that situation and that relationship.
yeah.
But yeah,
You did it.
the red flags. I did it. I did it. And since then, it was the probably the hardest. Like, what do I say? Like the hardest fall, the greatest lesson, though,
Yeah,
because it threw back. It mirrored what I needed to fix in my own life. And I remember him saying that conversation at the time. He said, "You have probably more problems than I have," and I remember thinking, "No, I don't." Yeah, you do.
yeah,
Yeah, you do. You do.
yeah.
You do.
And
You
when we
need to
say we don't, we're in the ego, you know what I mean? And we're
absolutely.
projecting. No, no, it's your problem. But
Yeah.
when we sit in our shadow and we go, oh, okay, I might have actually. No, I'm not saying it's a blame thing. It's nothing. It's looking from a higher perspective of the roles that you played in that
Absolutely.
relationship. Well done,
Absolutely.
you, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you anything to say before we finish up, to any listeners out there that are seeing the patterns and just can't get out of them?
Stop. Take a step back. It's okay to say, I need a bit of space, or I need a bit of time, to people, or just, can I get back to you on that? Don't automatically say yes to everything, because you spread yourself too thin on the ground. And then you realize when you're exhausted and you're in bed and you can't sleep, that you've given so much of yourself. So it's okay to stop, internalize, look at the patterns, do a bit of meditation, find somebody like yourself that can work with you and help you identify these issues. It's okay to ask for help. So ask for help wherever you need to ask for help, and try with the help of somebody. like yourself to heal, to find that beautiful person that's within you that needs that safe space to just be and just figure out all the issues and go from there. I feel we have the answers within ourselves, but sometimes
100%.
we need somebody like yourself to come in and show us that.
Yeah.
And once you heal, you'll never look back. You're a better version of yourself.
And
For
Denise,
your
tell
whole
your
life.
listeners, what else heals you in terms of what you do?
I'm a singer. I'm a professional singer and have been for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm actually smiling as I'm saying it because I adore it. I have a stage school, so I teach children as well. But I love to watch them grow and develop. That's part of, again, who I am and what I am. But yeah, I'm a singer. I have been a professional singer for 30 years. What I mainly do now, and people will probably laugh, is funerals.
Mm.
I love the funerals because you're bringing something so wholesome, so
Healing.
so sweet, so healing to people when they're in their most vulnerable state. And if you can do that with empathy and compassion at a time where they're really, they're struggling, they've lost a loved one, I get something from that. I take something from that every time. And I have very, very good musicians that I work with, and they are on the same page as well. So again, I found my beautiful, vibrating musician friends that are
Yeah.
all on that same vibration as me. So absolutely adore it. Adore it. I prefer it to the weddings. Now maybe that's the cynic in me. I don't know. But I do actually prefer it to the weddings. Yeah.
What a beautiful gift to give to others, especially at such a
love
hard time in their lives. Denise, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been an absolute pleasure, and wow, well done, you.
Thank you.
Denise's story reminds us of something so important. You don't regress because you're weak. You return to old patterns because they once kept you safe. Healing the heart isn't about trying harder or having better self-talk. It's about creating enough safety to choose yourself without fear. If this conversation stirred something in you, take a moment today, even a small one, to ask, what do I need right now before anyone else? Thank you, Denise, again for your honesty, your softness, and your courage to speak what so many feel but struggle to name. And to listening, you are all allowed to rest, you are allowed to receive, you are allowed to matter. Thank you for being part of the Healing Circle today. If something in this conversation touched you, let it land gently. You don't need to rush to understand it. Your body already knows. Remember, your story matters, and when it's shared in the right space, it has the power to heal. Not just you, but others too. If you feel called to explore this work more deeply, you'll find links to my sessions, retreats, and offerings through Embodied Energy Wellness in the show notes. Until we meet again, go gently, stay connected, and trust the wisdom within you. Thank you for being here.